Hello, my name is Mike, and these are some of my bikes. Now, in the last several gazillion episodes, seems like a lot of episodes, you guys watched me turn this street bike into an off-road machine. And, I was kind of concerned that I might go out there and break some geriatric bones riding in the dirt. Well, that hasn't happened yet. So I've got a solution. I'm going to get this sport bike on the road so I can go out there and hit the curves and the corners really, really fast and still run the risk of breaking some geriatric bones, just in a different way. Anyway, this episode, we'll get this 1991 Suzuki. It's a GS500E. It is a 2-cylinder, 500cc sport bike, and I got it really, really cheap. We're going to get this thing fired up and on the road. If you watch some of my other episodes on the short, we did get it to pop up. So we're going to take it the next step. We're going to get the fuel system cleaned out. We're going to put some good tires on it. We're going to take it out for a rip. Stick around if you want to find out whether I survive or not.
Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona, not far from historic Route 66, is an old fart trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. He'll work on anything, just as long as it's got at least 2 cool wheels.
Got the carbs off the old beastie. We'll go through and take them apart, clean them up real good. Judging from the condition of the tank, it's not real bad. They should clean it pretty easy. These are very similar to the carbs on the Kawasaki. And then we'll put the tank back on it and see if we can run it off the carbs. One thing I do want to do before I put the tank back on it is clean up and touch up that paint a little bit on the frame. There's an area there where it's all corroded away by battery acid or something like that. So overhaul the carbs, paint the frame a little bit, clean out the tank, put it all back together, throw some tires on it, and go out and hurt ourselves. Something like that. Well, I flushed the tank out, and it's still drying. So while that's happening, I got to figure out why the start button doesn't work. And I've dug into it a little bit. I've been using my remote starter here to get it to crank because the push button wasn't doing anything. I suspected the clutch switch, and well, my suspicions turned out to be correct. So on most bikes, you have a clutch switch. It's going to be on kind of a little separate harness here. And basically, this is my start circuit here, this yellow and green wire. So I've already disconnected the clutch switch and just bypassed it, went directly from the push button back to the starter relay. Under normal conditions, this would be connected, as you can see, this would be plugged into here, and this would be plugged into here, thereby completing the circuit through this switch. Well, if this switch is bad, it's real easy to test it. You just simply remove it from the circuit and then reconnect these two together and see if it starts, see if it cranks. So, I've reconnected it. And let's see if our start button actually does starty things. Start button. It is in neutral. Neutral light is on. So I'm not going to run myself over. Alright, so that proves my theory that my clutch switch is the issue. I'll probably just leave it bypassed for now because I don't feel like hunting down a clutch switch, and well, I'm pretty good at remembering to put it in neutral or pulling in the clutch lever before I crank. So, alright, so I guess the next thing is tires. You guys have watched me mount tires before, and a lot of times you'll see me clean the bead area so I have a nice seal. In this particular case, I wanted to pause long enough to point out somebody who did not have access to a tire machine or access to enough knowledge to change tires got in here with some really hard tools, screwdrivers, wedges, hammers, to try and put a tire on it one time, and dug some pretty deep grooves in the metal, which makes it real hard to clean this up so it'll seal again. So I'm gonna have to take a grinder to some of these, otherwise it'll just leak. I mean, that's pretty deep. I don't know if you can really see in the camera, but again, this is one of the things you got to watch for whenever you're doing a tire. Make sure that bead area is free of rust and corrosion and debris, otherwise you're begging for a flat tire. finish up with the tank here. This is a very interesting situation. Not like anything I've seen before. So, the tank, it has a regular tank valve and filter, like most do. As you can see, it doesn't have a lot of schmutz on it, which is good. And there's no knob on it. And it's permanently set from the factory to one position. You have a feed and a reserve, but instead of the knob being here, these two lines that I need to remove, these two lines go to a myriad of hoses that attach down alongside the frame. So what they've done is they've moved the fuel control remotely because, well, this is tucked up under the tank where you can't reach it. It's just a different way to do it, but it works. And what I didn't show in the video is I replaced all those fuel lines. They were all dry and cracked and mushy and stuff. So we'll go ahead and throw the tank back on it and put a little gas in it. It should fire up. Wait, no, scratch that. I just realized I don't have an air filter for it yet. And if I put the tank on first, I'm just going to have to take it off again when the air filter arrives. So it is on order, as well as an oil filter. Once they land, then I'll put the tank on. But I still have to replace the rear tire, so we'll go ahead and do that while we're waiting. Well, it's been several more days that air filter still hasn't arrived. But another thing we can do while we're waiting is, oh yeah, this is an oil filter. Yeah. We can go ahead and do an oil change. I mean, God knows when the last time this thing had an oil change was. And even though it looks fairly clean, we'll just give it some fresh oil to make it a little bit happier. And then hopefully sometime this afternoon, that air filter will arrive. We'll finish putting the air box back together. We'll go ahead and put the gas tank back on it. Theoretically, mind you, we'll take her for a little rip. And she sounds great. Fired right up with minimal choke. She idles. She revs right up. I'd say she's ready for a ride. Well, it's getting all ready to take it for a spin. I've got a new problem. Front brakes worked fine when I rolled it off the trailer, but because I had the front wheel off, I collapsed the calipers all the way. And then in order for those calipers to expand back where they belong to grip the rotor, well, the piston on the lever went all the way in and got stuck. The spring wasn't enough to return it. I mean, I got nothing. Fluid doesn't look horrible, but hasn't turned to crystal stuff yet. So what I need to do is get in here and push the piston back, get some fresh fluid in it, and then maybe we can take her for a spin. Alright, she's all ready to go. I freed up that piston and I bled it real well. Squirted all the brown crud out. So now I got nice clear fluid in the reservoir. In fact, should be able to see it. Yeah, can't see too good with the camera, but it is, it's clearer-ish. Anyway, the important thing is the lever works. So now we can ride. that's going to call it quits for this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching me get this basically abandoned bike back on the road. I got it very, very cheap. Didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. And now I got a fun toy to go out and hit the twisties and scrape my elbows on. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Come on back for the next episode.